Sometimes a diagnosis can become such an ingrained part of our identity that it becomes an excuse and a roadblock for us to make progress in overcoming the challenges that legitimately come with a diagnosis. Hey, I'm Crystal Wagner. I'm a professional life coach, and I have seen this in myself as a late diagnosed autistic ADHD mom and in my two neurodivergent daughters. There is truth in this, in the challenges that we face, and there are ways that we can overcome it. So in this episode, we're going to talk about how you can help your neurodivergent teen or young adult work through these unique situations. The truth is, they have real challenges. They face things that neurotypical people do not face. They have to do things differently. It could be hard. It could be really hard, and it can feel like an uphill battle. We do not want to dismiss life is different for them. We want to acknowledge what's happening and without minimizing or dismissing it, because what they're experiencing is real. And if we dismiss it, they won't be open to hearing what we have to say. And I'll be honest, sometimes they still don't. Sometimes we can acknowledge, I see how hard this is for you. Sometimes we still have to step up and find ways to overcome this. And they may not be in a place that they're ready to hear that yet. And we have to accept that. But we do want to acknowledge, yeah, what you're going through is hard and other people don't have to deal with it. And I'm really sorry. But I'm here to support you when you're ready for it. They have to decide if they are ready to make the changes and sometimes take the hard steps so that they can accomplish what they really want to do and what they want to step up to. Or they need to decide to accept this is where I am right now and I'm not ready to take those hard steps. So I need to accept this is my capacity. What can I do with this capacity? This is hard because they may not want to take the steps to do the hard things, to practice the habits that they need to put in place, or to work through the challenges and really reflect, what is it that I need to do? What is really holding me back? Other times they really may want to manage that, but they don't want to put in the effort to do it because it's a whole lot easier to just not. We can't decide for them. We have to let them decide and be available, be ready to support them, but they have to choose. And as a parent, this can be one of the hardest things where we can see this one small change in your mindset could have a huge impact on the rest of your week, and they're not ready to take it in. I've had so many times where my daughter would come back to me and say, Mom, I'm pretty sure you've told me this, but guess what's working? I talked about this in a previous episode that sometimes we're just planting seeds. They're not ready to hear it. We just have to plant the seeds, try to make the ground as fertile as possible so that when they hear it from someplace else, there's a place for the roots to take hold and for the plant to sprout. And this tends to be one of those where we might say the same thing over and over, and they might see other people with similar challenges doing the same thing over, but they're not ready to do it themselves. And so it's just that seed is lying fallow until they're ready to say, yes, I think I want to try that. And then we have to be really careful not to say, yeah, well, if you'd done that a while ago, because that's not going to help. That's not going to make the ground fertile for the future. It is so hard sometimes to just say, wow, I am so glad that's working for you. There are some things that you can do as you are helping them to take this diagnosis and this identity and overcome the challenges that it brings. One is acknowledge their feelings, acknowledge that it's hard. Yeah, this is happening. Yes, you have to work harder. Yeah, that's going to be a little bit more difficult for you to do that. How can we help you in that? When you acknowledge the feelings, they can see that you see them, that you care about them, and you're not trying to just get them to be productive or whatever the situation is. But sometimes we have to let the natural consequences play out. Like I said, they may not be ready for stepping up. And yet they want to take on more responsibility without putting in place the support structures they need to make that happen. We can talk about it. We can point out, hey, I'm concerned about you doing this activity because this tends to be a challenge. Do you want to talk about how you might mitigate that? And if they don't, as young adults, we have to let them make their own choices. As a parent, that can be really hard to watch, but it is not our place to overstep. We have to have those boundaries in place. We have to let them acknowledge and experience the outcomes of their choices while offering the support that they might need, but we can't make them take it. It's also important to have support structures in place for yourself and for your teen, and have other people that are pouring into them so that they can hear from trusted sources, whether it is a book about how to manage the challenges they have, or maybe a YouTube channel that specifically talks about what they're going through, that you have watched some of the videos that you can be able to say, hey, this might be helpful. Maybe it's having a counselor or an executive function coach, or having a mentor who can relate to your child in a little bit different way, because sometimes they don't want to hear from us, they need to hear from somebody else. And having the support in place for yourself is also really important so that you can talk through these challenges. And when you get frustrated, whenever you see that this feels like they are using this as an excuse again, you can bounce the situation off of a trusted other person, whether it's your spouse or a friend who understands what it's like to have a neurodivergent child, or maybe it's a coach that you can come to and say, this is what's going on. I need to think through what is happening. And sometimes even just saying it out loud, you can start to see the patterns begin to emerge. So find the support structures for yourself and for your teen, your young adult, so that you're both supported, especially on these difficult, challenging days. I just want to close by reminding us that this process is hard. We have all gone through this process. We have to learn how to learn who we are, learn what we need, and how we can work best. And that takes time. And when you're neurodivergent and you have additional challenges that come into play that don't look like everybody else, that don't fit the stereotypical advice, it can take even longer for you to figure out what it is that you need. So be patient, be supportive, and yet be firm with the boundaries that you need to have in place. I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions or concerns, please reach out to me and email me or leave a comment below. I'd love to chat. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.